if you are a creative coach and you have an online business, meaning you teach music, dance, photo, video, any creative skill, and you have the problem of not making enough income, but if you get more clients, you end up losing more time because you charge hourly. This is how you can fix that. I'm going to show you how you can grow a creative business to 6 figures, multiple 6 figures without selling your time. And I do this with music production. I've grown a multiple 6-figure every year income from teaching music production online, and this is exactly what I do. So the issue here is, in order to make more money, we need to get more clients, right? And to get more clients, we sell lessons in the form of hourly rate. So maybe your rate is $100 an hour, maybe it's $200, maybe it's $500 an hour. It doesn't matter. The problem is you cannot get paid unless you actually show up and you trade your time and you sit down in front of the client. So if you get more clients, that equals less time that you have for yourself. And then the problem is there's a ceiling. We all only have 24 hours. I only have 24 hours. You only have 24 hours. Elon Musk only has 24 hours. We all just use it a little bit differently. So if we constantly are in this model of where we're charging hourly, you cannot disconnect your time from your money. That's it. There's no fix to that. But the fix is, instead of charging for your time, you can charge based on the value. So value pricing over time pricing. Charge based on the value of the outcome that you provide. So what I mean by that is, if you can help somebody take photos and land wedding gigs and you can help them make a bunch of money, you should charge based on the value of what that is that you provide. If they learn the skill set from you and they can take that and apply it, how does that change their life? So the bigger the impact is of that outcome, the more you can charge, right? So time pricing means that you can never disconnect your earning from your time. Even if you charge $1 million per hour, you will not get paid unless you show up. So that's the problem. Value-based pricing means that the bigger the problem you solve, you can charge more for it, because solutions aren't measured in time. They're measured by the end result, and which you can delegate and you can automate this stuff. So if you just need to get them an end result, that's all your client wants, then it doesn't matter what delivery methods you use. It doesn't matter if you sit there and every waking minute with them, or if you show them another way. As long as they get the result, that's all they want. And the ways to be able to get them that result can be automated, or it can be delegated to somebody else. So this came from a book, and I forgot what the book was. I've been trying to remember, but I can't. But here's the story, right? There was a factory, multi-million dollars, made tons of money, have tons of employees. There's so much going on in this factory. Well, at one point, something had happened, and the whole factory shut down. The whole factory shut down means no one was working, no one was making any money. So the longer that it was down meant that more money was being lost. Every minute, hundreds of thousands of dollars was being lost the more seconds that passed by. So it was an immediate fix that they needed, but no one in the building knew how to fix the problem. They tried so many ways, they tried everything they knew, but they just could not fix it. Nobody in the building, hundreds and hundreds of employees, nobody could figure it out. So they had to call somebody else. They had to call a third party, another business. The third party came in and they looked at it. They turned one screw and the whole factory came back on. Everyone was back to work. They were making money again. And they said they wrote an invoice and they charged $10,000. $10,000. And the owner said, $10,000 to turn a screw? That's insane, right? The act of turning a screw for $10,000. But then this is the way that the third party explained it to them. It was actually $1 to turn the screw. It was $9,999 to know which screw to turn. Okay, so what this tells us is the result is much more important than how long it took to turn the screw or what they even did. It doesn't matter if it was turning a screw. It doesn't matter if it was building a complete new building. Like, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is that result. That result was that the factory came back on, the factory, everyone went back to work, and they continued to make money. Because if they didn't want to pay $10K, what happens? The more time that passes that the factory is down, the more money that they lose. So which one costs more? The $10K to turn the screw, or hundreds of thousands of dollars every minute? So that's the thing to note, right? The act of it, the doing the work, that doesn't matter. It's the end result that truly matters. So if we can get the results for the clients that they paid us for, that's literally all that matters. It doesn't matter how much time they spend with us. It doesn't matter how we do it. We just need to get the result that they paid for. So that's the most important part. Most make the mistake of saying, if I charge a lot too, then I just need to add more things, right? I need to add more lessons in my coaching program. I need to add more one-on-ones. I need to add more group sessions. Again, that's thinking too small. If you look at the macro picture, all they really want is the result. They don't want more of your time. They don't want more lessons. They don't want more barriers in the way. They just want the quickest path to getting to the result. So if you're adding things and it takes your client longer to get the results, that's actually worse. So a lot of times people make the mistake of, okay, well, there's not enough lessons in my course. I need to add more lessons. And so they just start adding fluff and just adding all these things because they're increasing their prices and they're scared people will get scared off. But really, all you want to do is reduce the friction between your client's current state and their desired state. So if you add more lessons, that's more time that they have to spend to watch those lessons. And if it's just fluff, then it's not going to get them the result. You just want to give them enough for them to take them from their current state to their desired state. Here's an example. If there was a personal trainer that said, I can help you lose 20 pounds, it's going to take a year. You would look at that and say, that sounds good. I want to lose 20 pounds, but a year is a long time, and that's a long commitment. Sounds like a lot of work. On the other hand, there's another personal trainer that says, oh, I'll help you lose that same 20 pounds, but in 2 months. Which one's more valuable? The 2 months, right? Because in this case, speed is more valuable. So you want time to work with you versus against you, because it can work against you. If you decide to charge hourly and go based off of that, you have to show up. Whereas if you work and get the results on a timely manner, that's how you have it work with you. So again, don't value things based on the features, like the amount of lessons, the modules, the bonuses, the time spent, the worksheets. Just base it on the result. And if you can take them, for example, like if you can take them from 100K, you can get them 100K in 90 days and you charge 10K, is that worth it? We just 10 extra money in 90 days. Let's do the same equation, but for a longer period of time. If you help them make 100K, but it took 9,000 days and you charge 10K, that's not worth as much, right? So in this case, again, speed is more valuable. So have time work with you versus against you. Here's the business model that I'm going to show you that allows you to spend less time doing the small work and actually building assets that will work for you for a long time. So instead of charging hourly, this is a way that you can set up your coaching business so that you get your clients the results that they need, give them the support that they need so that they can get the result without you having to spend every waking minute with each individual client. So this here is the high ticket hybrid system. And there's 5 parts to this. There's a course, there's group, there's one-on-ones, there's DM support, and there's community. So I'm going to break down each one of these. The course does the teaching for you. There's going to be certain things that you just don't need to explain to everybody. Like, for example, if you're in music, you don't need to explain to each individual what a C major chord is or a C minor chord, right? Or you don't need to explain in photography what a shutter button is to each individual person. That can be held in a course. There are certain things that you have to teach as a foundation to get people to a certain level before you apply the advanced tactics. All those basic tactics can be taught in a course. I know there's this limiting belief where it's like, well, I have to fix their technique. They just won't show up. They won't do all this stuff. That's your fault. That's because we're not good enough at teaching, and we just need to get better, and we need to hold people accountable better. So this does the teaching for you, and then also clients can go back and rewatch a course. How many times have you had a student come to you, sit down on a lesson, and you just feed them information for an hour, and they're like nodding their head the whole time like they get it? By the time they get home, they might think, what was that one thing that they said again? I don't remember. I'll ask him next week when we meet up again. By the time next week rolls around, they already forgot their question, or they have to bother you, right? They have to text you and say, what was that thing that you said again? What's the point? If you had it in a course, they can just rewatch it. They don't have to bother you. They don't have to wait till next week and then forget. And then if they forget, that stumps their learning. So if you have it in a course, they can rewatch it over and over until it sinks in and makes sense. Also, this is an asset that they can use forever. So I've joined coaching programs years ago. I don't have access to them anymore. I don't have access to the mentor, but I still have access to the course. And that course forever is a massive asset to me. And I'll pay thousands of dollars just for it because I can go back and refresh on the things that I had forgotten along the way. As well, it's an evergreen asset to you. Once you record these lessons, they work for you forever. It doesn't matter if you run one client through it. It doesn't matter if you run 10,000 clients through it. It's going to work. You're going to do the same amount of work. You record it once and it just keeps going. And then you can keep getting feedback from your people and say, hey, this was missing. I still have questions about this. And if you get repeats, then you can you can optimize and continue leveling up your course. So if one lesson wasn't taught well enough, you can re-record it. And then 5 months later, another lesson. 5 months later, another lesson. You see what I'm saying? So all you have to do is keep revising this asset that you already have, and it's evergreen. It'll always work for you. And you can constantly make it better. So that's what I was talking about. Make money before you create the course. I think a lot of people have this idea of that they have to sit down, get all this fancy gear, pre-record all this stuff, and then put it out to the public. What if nobody wants it? It may sound like a good idea to you, but no matter what, until we test the market, we don't know if they want it or not. So what you should do is you should teach live. You should write out a curriculum, teach that all live, record all those lessons, and then cut it up, and that's the first draft of your course. That way you can get feedback live. You can make any alterations you need. You have a draft, so you can keep bringing in clients as you revise it and make each lesson better over time. Again, learn live, get feedback, and make the best final product. The second thing is group, right? Obviously, with a course, they can't ask you questions. There's no support. The group is a great way to do it because it doesn't matter if you have one client or you have 58 clients. You can answer all their questions at once. And since everyone is on the same path, they can start learning from each other. Also, you can answer all their questions no matter how many students you have. Generally, the students will have the same questions that come up because they're on the same path. They're learning from the same course. They're trying to do the same thing. So if student 1 asked the question, but student 42 was going to ask the same question, they no longer have the question because you already answered it for student 1. That eliminates a lot of problems and re-giving the answers over and over. Imagine if you were doing this one-on-one, right? You answer it for person 1, person 2 asks the same question, you answer it for person 2, person 3. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to do it individually. It should be handled in a group. Answer questions for everybody. You can see different situations too. You can say, this is how you would fix this. This is how you would fix this. Everybody's situation is just going to be a little bit different. And since everybody's on the same call, they can also see the differences in the different situations. And one-on-one. You can still do one-on-ones. I'm not saying you should remove one-on-ones forever and not meet anybody in person or meet anybody individually, but you should do less one-on-ones if you have a course and you have group setup. This is like reserved for just more tailored help. So this is where technique, fixing mistakes comes in. If you're teaching music and you're teaching an instrument, yes, there's going to be certain times where like technique needs to be fixed. That's why they're not getting the result. And that's what one-on-one is saved for. It's not reserved for you teaching them how C major chord works or any of the little stuff because the course has done that. And then the group answers any little questions about that kind of stuff. And in the one-on-ones, you can just make sure you reserve it for the most important problems and the biggest hurdles. That way you make the best use of your time and you make the best use of your students' time versus just sitting down with them one-on-one. Because again, if you sit down one-on-one every single week and you're teaching an hour straight of pure knowledge, it's really hard to retain all that stuff. This is where you can help them overcome major roadblocks. And then the next thing is DM support. Eliminate meetings for simple questions, but also you can answer any time-sensitive questions. If somebody has a problem now that needs to be addressed now, instead of waiting for the next meeting, you can just answer it through a video like this, or you can just answer it through the DMs. That way, they get their question answered, and then you eliminate meetings, and you free up your calendar space. Fifth thing is community. Students give each other ideas. If you put them all in a community, it takes burden off of you. Because think about this. If you have a community full of people and someone has worked with you for like 6 months, they're going to be much further along and know your curriculum a lot better than the person that just joined today. So if the person that joined today has a question, they can ask the community, and all those students that have gone further in your program can help answer those questions, and that relieves the burden off of you to be the only teacher. You're basically creating a bunch of these clones of you that know your strategy, know your knowledge, and they can help answer, right? So it takes the burden off you, and students learn from each other. Also, they get to network. They get to be in a community full of people that are doing the exact same thing as them. And that's really helpful. You can also upsell them. Like, obviously there's people that are going to do really well in your program and they want to work with you further, right? This is a good way to be able to upsell them and just show that like people are buying into this. People want to level up. It shows FOMO so that, the other students also want to sign up. So community is really powerful. And again, I know I said a lot, but these are the 5 pillars that you need to be able to create a very scalable business as far as coaching business, right? If you have a course, you do group coaching, you do some one-on-ones, you have DM support, and you have a community. If you have these 5 things, you can charge $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 for the result. And then you have these assets. That means $10,000 doesn't mean that you have to spend 10,000 hours with them. It means that you can give them this so that they get that result, and you can base your price on the outcome, the value of that result. Hopefully that makes sense. This is how I do things, and this is how I grew my music production coaching business to, at this point, over 700K in the last couple of years. And this is what I show my coaches how to do, my clients how to do, and it works really well for them. Hopefully you found this interesting. Hopefully you found this helpful. Subscribe if you did. And also, if you want further help with this and you want to set this up for yourself, but you're just not sure how, I'd love to help you. I'm going to leave a link down below so that you can schedule a call with me and see if I can help you implement something like this or help you try to figure something out like this. Regardless, I hope this was valuable to you, and I will see you in the next video.